In this lecture, we'll be taking a look at how we can define dynamic routes in next.js. As you can see over here, the file explorer that we have created a directory inside the pages directory as post, and then a subdirectory inside it as id, but that's within rectangular brackets. Now here, if I go inside this directory, you will find a file called index.js. Now this file is making use of next router, and using that router we are extracting the URL parameters like id and foo, which is the query string in our case. And then finally we are returning it saying this is the id and this is the query parameter that has been passed. Now when you provide it in this kind of directory structure, then next.js automatically defines such routes. For instance, if you see over here, a new link we have added to our home page, and that says post/abc, then question mark foo is equal to bar. So this route basically matches the route we have defined. That's inside the post directory. abc is the id, and then foo equals bar, that is the query string. So if we compile this and run it in the browser, you'll see that abc is the post id or post, and then bar that was provided as query string parameter to foo is shown over here as query string parameter variable. Now there's one catch over here. If you're going to rename this query string parameter as the id itself, for example like this, then you can see that it gets overwritten, and whatever is the id that is only taken, the query is ignored. So that is something which you'll have to make note of when you're working with dynamic routes in Next.js. And similarly, if you want to catch all the routes, instead of having this kind of directory structure where we have said id inside rectangular brackets, we can have something like ... then id. So that becomes a slug which is going to catch all the different dynamic routes that this page might have. That was all about dynamic routes in Next.js.